What is up, Gold members? How about a tracking update video? We're going to dive in on meme stocks, AMC, GameStop, MBIS, crypto, Bitcoin, Doge, XRP, and then wrap it up with SPY, Tesla, and Microsoft, just so you guys know. Let's dive right in. AMC. You guys are all familiar with the macro position of this. 2013 to 2021 on the left, 2021 to 2026 on the right. We are zooming in on the blue box here. Blue box, basic fractal landmarks C, M, T, and V to our current C, M, T, and V. Zooming in on just tri-peak here. Just tri-peak here. Same thing on a micro perspective, basic fractal landmarks CMTV. And to our current CMTV. Let's dive in on S-curve here. We're just going to zoom in on the S-curve. S-curve is what? It's just two micro iterations in a downtrend. Basic fractal landmarks, CMTV. Here we are now zoomed in. On our left, we have the 2020 to 2021 CMTV, and our secondary one, C2 to V2, on our current CMTV, and then our second iteration is C2 to V2. I had a bottom of 133. I mentioned a bunch that as long as this continued tracking, I don't really care how low it went, but it does need to be to scale. I didn't want it to just, continue dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. Plus we have, the Jans that were coming into play, and time and price confirms my tracking. So wanted to see a quick drop. 133 to hold. This is kind of the setup for that. On our second iteration, once we topped with the C top at 180, C, M, T, and V. And what did we do? C, M, T, and V. Jan theory. Jan theory is going to help us with how the time of this, right? Jan theory is a yearly cycle of landmarks. It is not macro position, but it does tell you where you are within a yearly cycle. So, of course, where are we? We're at the end of the year. And if we zoom in on just this recent 2024, 2025, and our current, so just these iterations, these are the ones that I used previously in the past couple months for one-to-ones, or in this case, just the monthly sequence. Every landmark that we're looking for throughout the year, because it's fractal, is going to be the same landmark around the same time period. You have the spring peak, summer consolidation, the fall is the fall or S-curve, and then a winter V. Fractal starts over again. So if we're just looking at this from our Jan to February, just between here, that's where we are. In 2024 was this micro iteration. It is the final landmark within a yearly cycle iteration. That's why it also looks like our January to April bottom. What is the January to April bottom? It was the last iteration in the larger cycle since 2021. Same reason why we can also look at February to April of 2025, and it's the same landmark, basic fractal landmarks, C top, end in a V. That's also what we have here for January 2025, that final micro iteration, and that's what we're doing right now, this final micro iteration. So coming off the other side of that, February 7th, February 5th to 7th, you have the higher low sequence off of that micro V. C top, V bottom, micro. This is your higher low sequence here. Very quick in 2025, you can see. Here is our... Whoop. That was our 2024. Here's our 2025. Again, that higher low does not take a long time. And then you can confirm further to a February top, March fall down, so on and so forth. That is not what I think. Jan theory is a yearly cycle of landmarks. It is not macro position. Based off of our macro position, we should look for new jet test. But to try to time what this higher low might look like coming off of this V, what is the higher low? The higher low is the channel, the January 2021 channel. That is a higher low off of a macro V. So that's what I'm looking for to confirm here. What would that look like? It would look something like this. We do have a micro equation date for 2.3 to 2.7. So right there in that yearly cycle of the one-to-ones that I just showed, roughly February 5th, February 7th, That is a weekend, so February 9th is the Monday. And this is kind of the idea of the channel. This is a higher low off of V, this first micro here. So getting it back above 150 and then retesting that range, any higher low from there on out is just, it's the channel. It should not last long. I'm not looking for a February top and then a March and then this and then that. No, I think that we're in a macro break scenario. That's AMC.